Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin Puck. Saturdays, 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
What's going on? Happy Saturday out there. Another edition of Chompin Puck, I believe. Is this episode 5 or 6?
6, I think.
Wow, just smoking along.
Flying through.
I'm four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty, joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Michael Gentry Jr. Here, Chompin Puck with us, as always. Spenmo Racks and the ones and twos. Couldn't do it without him. But we got a big show packed today. We got out and about in the community. Obviously, last Saturday during the Colorado game, we had the Chompin Puck takeover down at LCA. We're going to show you some pictures and conversations, stuff like that. And also, too, one of the big sponsors here at Woodward Sports Network, Big Boy. We were over in Fraserland, the Big Boy Arena. Got to chop it up with a couple of the guys. See, what I like to do around here, Mike, Chompin Puck, we had Mr. Fields, the general manager for the Motor City Rockers, on last week. We were over in Rocker Dome in Fraser, so we picked up a couple guys. So we talked to a couple of the players. Obviously, Danny Vanderwiel. I like to call him Wheelie, the captain there. We're going to talk about them.
He was awesome, man.
A lot of stuff to talk about. Stick around. We appreciate you joining us on this Saturday for Chompin Puck. But what do you got for me, Mike? A couple questions here. Let's talk about Red Wings hockey. What's going on with the Wings these days?
So before we get into the Red Wings side of things, we're going to talk about the Switch, D-Mac. The Switch, the Fanatics. The NHL is switching to the Fanatics for the upcoming season. Jerseys, everything. I just want to get your overall thoughts on this. We talked about it a little bit, and we actually, when we were at the game, D-Mac, I know Spence has this, we got to see that Nike jersey we talked about
Isn't
last
it
week.
funny how you put things out in the universe? And my friend Jen Reed, one of who's from Grand Rapids, who's been a friend and fan for so long, had a authentic Nike, right? The one I was talking about, the one that we brought up. Now, those are the ones right there that I would have chosen to bring back, but they decided to go with the Fanatic. Now, where's my dog? You asked me, dog in the fight. I could care less. I don't have to wear it. But from what I hear from all my people that wear the jerseys and they got thumbs down. They don't like it. They would rather go more traditional Nike or Bauer or CCM or something in the hockey world. The Fanatics. Now, let's explain the why. Makes sense. It's the Fanatics company, which is infiltrated, they cover all the different sports. They've got more of a grasp on the merchandise and the jerseys, so it makes sense of why they would want to get into it. What about quality?
Yeah.
Do you not like the quality? Is it too cheap? Is it too cheesy? What is it that people don't like about it? I guess chompinpuck@gmail.com, or give me your chats here. We're going to answer it next week. I want to know what people don't like about it. Is it because here it is. In hockey, a lot of times, it's the old boy network, or it's something. Tradition is a huge thing. That's what I mean by that. So something that this is new. Yeah. And new doesn't really fly a lot of the times when it comes down to the stability in the culture, right? When you're talking about jerseys, whoa. When we're talking about, look at the stir that came up when the retro jerseys came about, right? When you're changing any color. So I guess I don't have a big issue with it. I have an issue because my fans and the people have issues with it. All you guys out there that love the merchandise. I just think that it's sort of the way of the world in 2023, and it's more or less taken over. It's more monopolizing and globalizing, and all the other sports is what Fanatics done. Yeah. So what's your take, Mikey?
As far as the quality goes, you can't there are some of their apparel where I would say the quality isn't the greatest, but this hoodie, I like it. But it's really tough to say as far as the jersey goes and how many changes they'll actually have to the jersey. So I'm interested to see. But just like you said about the reverse retros, people weren't so high on those when they first came out, and then they grew on them as the year went on. And I really like those jerseys, and I really liked them from the start.
Now, if anybody's like me and you're old school and track record that anything Gary Bettman puts his hands on in the NHL wise does not sit well to me, but I'm a traditionalist, right? So the game's changed. So you're right, Mikey. Let's wait and see what happens, but probably doesn't look good. If all the diehard fans and the people that I hear from
I think when they go to decisions like that, as tough as it is to, like, you know, grab the fans' perspective on that, but those are going to be the people that are going to be buying those jerseys. So maybe you should
got to follow the money and see what happens.
And quality, especially for a jersey and really just any type of apparel, is what you need, and that's like the top priority. So I'm interested to see how it pans out, but we're going to the Red Wings side of things now, D-Mac. Simon Edvinsson, first NHL goal yesterday. Congrats to him, but in the post game, I was a little shocked. Our good friend Trevor Thompson asked a question, like, how did it feel getting that first NHL goal with, you know, his family? His family was still there for the game last night, and he responded, it was fun and whatnot, but I still took 2 penalties, and I need to be better.
Absolutely, which is maturation. That's sort of what you want to hear. Simon Edvinsson knows that he's not here, and you're not going to be a winning team with him putting goals, you know, pucks in the net. Obviously, it's a bonus, but he knows. To me, that tells me the self-awareness of what the coaches are preaching to him, what he's been preached to by Ben Simon, the coach in Grand Rapids, and what he's been hearing all year. And it's just the evolution, the maturity. Yeah. To me, what I take out of it is a lot of the maturity that we heard from Mo Sider last year as he developed and as he grew, and how important the 60-minute game and the fact that the whole game. If you mentioned to Simon Edvinsson that you don't score but you win the game, he'll take it every day. Yeah. You know, and that just goes to show you a little bit behind the character of what you have. Yeah. I love it. I don't mind it. Like, so if he's taking penalties now, getting called for different things, he's learning. Yeah. Now's the time of the year, like I said, is that this is the benefit. You're going to see guys getting cups of coffee. Another thing I wanted to add to is, like, small flex, but Matt Luft, shout out to you. Grind line. Man. Might be the grind line mentality player of the year. Like, as far as, and I looked at him and Robbie Fabry just because of how they play through and persevere through a lot of the injuries they have. Now, remember, Matt Luft got hit from behind viciously against Montreal earlier in the season, broke his face open a lot to the lines that looked like what happened to Chris Draper, but he came back last night. So putting the work in, shout out to him, shout out to the grinders. But, you know, these are, and a lot of stuff. The guys that I hear the names when I watch the games, they're looking at it, like, look at the fourth line guys, the Austin Chernaks, guys who are getting the opportunities. So are we going to see any more guys get called up to get opportunities? That's what we look for down the stretch. But again, all this stuff we're talking about, whether it's Edvinsson, some of these younger guys,
Chase on another goal.
Yeah,
Alex Chase, you know, and there's a veteran guy, right? There's a guy playing for another contract that's been around, but he brings culture, work ethic. I look at Alex Chase on maybe not on the level of a David Perron or a Ben Schrott adding to the culture, but you add a guy that's been a journeyman and a guy that has played and produced in this league, a former first-round pick. So that's Steve Eisman putting it all together. So unfortunately, it doesn't mean playoffs. Unfortunately, it means the longer summer. But guys, this will be the last summer without the playoffs for a long time. I'm pretty much guarantee that.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about one more Red Wing, a former Red Wing now, Jacob Vrana. He's been on kind of a hot streak with the Blues. I just want to get your thoughts on that and how good it is for them. And obviously, the Red Wings didn't make a mistake letting him go. I don't view it as that. It was just a change of scenery. It was what was needed from both sides. But I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I want to address this for everybody out there on far as the Detroit Red Wings and when it comes to substance abuse and how they treat everything else. And when it comes down to certain issues, a lot of time it comes down to the Jacob Vrana issue. It's you need sometimes a change of scenery, or where I use the term, either you're in or you're in the way. And it just doesn't happen overnight. There's different things. Now, I just take offense to the fact of being somebody that has gone through all the substance abuse and ups and downs. And my sobriety date's 2015, and people go, well, D-Mac, you retired from the NHL in 2009. And I'm like, yeah, my point exactly. Right? So it's about the different people. You know, we've had Bob Probert, myself, and come through the organization. A good friend, you know, Sheldon Kennedy, different things like that. Different strokes for different folks. Yeah. It ain't a giving up. I hope that this change of scenery for Vrana helps him out. It was one of these situations that, because how do you say that? You don't want to go back and it had nothing to do, but we can all agree that I would expect from the transition from Washington to Detroit, he's in that vortex of whatever addiction or lifestyle or whatever that needs to be changed. The fact that it happens when he's here in Detroit, right, might not be the best place for him to be back for his mentality moving forward. Now, this is all, at the end of the day, what has to be balanced, pros and cons on and off the ice and stuff like this. But for one iota second, I'm not going to ever sit here and let anybody bash on being insensitive to the substance abuse issue. That's not it. Sometimes it's a different change of scenery. And it's great because it shows you that maybe St. Louis is a place to play. Other than that, we'll see. So it's all about health and wellness. You wish the best for Jacob Vrana as a player, and he wasn't going to be part of that here. Sometimes you have to cut your losses to move on. So good luck to him. But as far as sensitive to those issues, this organization, that might be number one.
Yeah,
they're sensitive to. So
but at the end of the day, like you said, we wish what's best for Jacob Vrana in his career and moving forward. So.
Anybody who's dealing with anything, and at the end of the day, this would probably be the best thing, not only for his career. If you're at a place where you can't further yourself, or you have a different, maybe you just have a different sort of opinion of what should happen. So then you move on. Yep. So that's it. Let's take a break. And when we come back, we got lots of stuff today. Maybe we'll get into the mailbag.
Yep.
Ton of sports and a ton of mags. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
.com for our new show, Chompin Puck.
He shoots, he scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin Puck. Saturdays, 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
What's up? Yes, here it is. Chompin Puck back, exclusive DMAC here now. Hey, you know what? A lot of smoke and mirrors. That's what's going to happen here with this Chompin Puck because there's stuff to do. So I must be out and about, and we couldn't figure out how to be in the studio at the same time. But you know what? We did a live remote from Fraser Ice Hockey Land, home of big boy hockey, also the home. Yes, last week episode I introduced you to the GM. Now I'm going to introduce you to a couple of the players. Give it up for the Vanderwiel, Danny Vanderwiel, the captain, number 19, and the Babes. That's what the broads call him in the stand. Trevor Babin, number 72, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on Chompin Puck here. Now, if you're not familiar, as you should, go back and watch last week's episode where I introduced you into the Motor City Rockers who play out of Fraser, Iceland. I compare them to, now we know DMAC's love for DCFC, Detroit City Football Club, the best champions downtown out of Hamtramck, the soccer team. Well, this is the hockey version. Why? Because this is an event cost-effective for the family. A lot of family fun events going on. Sort of an old-time hockey. Now, the one thing that I loved, gentlemen, is the fact that it's called the Federal Prospects League, which it gives it that old school federal toughness, but it also shows the prospects. So starting with you, Trevor, give the folks at home in the Chompin Puck audience a little backstory, where you're from and how you ended up being number 72 for the Motor City Rockers.
So I'm Trevor Babin. I'm from Philly, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, ECW, baby. Anyways.
How I ended up here in Motor City, I was in the league last year with Delaware and was supposed to stay there, but they ended up not holding my rights. So with the expansion draft, they ended up choosing me as the first pick in the draft. And that's how I ended up here.
So you are the first pick. That's what we're talking to. We're talking to money right here. Money, baby. So talk a little bit about how old are you?
24.
24. So little minor. Did you play minor hockey? Obviously, everybody familiar in this area, out of this building, the big boy, but Little Caesars hockey, honey baked and stuff like that. Did you grow up playing?
So I played junior A back home for the Philadelphia Revolution, and then I moved up to Canada and Ontario. Played junior A up there, and then I went right into pro. So that's kind of how my journey went.
I love it. Now we're talking. This is it. This is the guy. This is where all the money goes to. Let's lead it on over to Danny here, who is wearing the C. Danny Vanderwiel. As you know, I told Danny that, listen, buddy, I had 19 in junior and 19 in the minors. When I got to the Detroit Red Wings, I couldn't get 19. So you know what? Good luck to him. But give us a little backstory, where you're from, and how'd you end up with the C on your jersey, kid?
So I'm from Island Lake, Illinois. I grew up there my whole life. I moved to Michigan when I was 16 years old. I played in OHL for 4 years for the Plymouth Whalers. My billet family was actually, I believe you know them, the McCrimmons.
Oh, absolutely.
Family, yeah, so I lived with them on my time there. Had a blast there. Honestly, I'm going to say I ended up with a C on my jersey just strictly based off of actions that I've took and the leadership that I've kind of just displayed on a day-to-day basis. You know, I'm 28, a few years older than him, so been around a little bit longer, learned a bunch of shit, and excuse me.
You're good. D-Max show.
Learned a bunch, and
it's greasy.
You know, it's a room full of a bunch of guys that in their mid-20s. We're all humans. We're all learning a lot, and it's just been a great experience for me personally.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about playing here in the hockey land in Fraser and stuff like this, because if people don't know, the big thing around is community. I think a lot of things I mentioned, Detroit City football, downtown Hamtramck, Jimmy John's Field, which is close, which is minor league baseball, which would be, right? This is sort of the minor league family friendly. You mentioned that we're recording this. Now we're going to have to kayfabe this a little bit because we're recording this after we shot the Big D Energy show on Wednesday. So you guys have to play. You have the home games this weekend.
Correct.
Now each weekend's theme night, right? So
generally, yes.
And what is the theme for this?
This upcoming weekend, I want to say it's the Detroit F City. That weekend.
Detroit City football, exactly, which is champions in the building and stuff like this. So talk a little bit about what it's like playing in front of this crowd or putting that purple jersey on. I mentioned to Nick, I said, those are sick jerseys. I rocked the hat and stuff like this. So
they are sick. When you see all the boys lining up for warm-ups in the purple, even the whites or the blacks, we look mean in all of them. But honestly, playing here as the year's gone on, and obviously first-year organization, it was a little slower start with the fans, but as word's starting to get out and the seats start to fill more and more, it's louder and louder in there. And the energy, honestly, all the boys keep saying it'd be a really cool experience if every seat was filled in that barn. The fans are right on top of you, man. The environment in there, the energy would be crazy.
Well, that's the one thing that I encourage. Also, too, is like a lot of times is that people don't make decisions because they don't know. So the fact is that when I'm talking to a team where people can get behind, because in the city right now, as of when I recorded last week, you guys were in third place, right? So you guys are a playoff, the 10-team league. You guys are destined for the playoffs. Yep. So the playoffs start middle to third week in April. Yep. So that'd be a great time for everybody to check out the Motor City Rockers. If you haven't until then, I know that's when we're going to plan on bringing a contingent to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Talk about the team. Talk about, you mentioned a bunch of greasy 20-something-year-old guys that have been around. Maybe you've played. This isn't your first trip away from home. This isn't playing junior, correct, right? What is the one thing, I guess, is that, because the one thing that I'm big about is, and especially it's the culture and it's the community and things like that. And what I've found is if you invest into people in this area, people especially in Michigan, they'll invest back into you. What is one of the most things fun about playing here?
ELE. Everyone loves everybody. All the boys love each other, man. The locker room.
But speak about that, because you've been around. You're from Philly. Your bullshit meter's got to be pretty high. But talk about that, boys, because I think It's the culture, and when you have that, when you have the fact, I try to tell everybody is why do we win championships? It's because our Yzermans and our Fedorovs and whatever, like your McCartys and your grind lines, they're going to be your guys, like your meat and potatoes guys. But it's when you have the Yzermans and the Fedorovs and the best guys, who the guy beside them is more important to them than they are to themselves. Exactly. That's what ELE. I like ELE. Everybody loves everybody's stuff.
I think what stands out is that we all get along and we all have a positive vibe in the room. So as long as we keep that, it affects everybody else that's outside of the ring too. So if we can bring in more of a crowd to sort of buy into that also, it helps us out too.
The community, and talk about it, because guys have aspirations, right, about making it to the next level or things like that. So they're playing hard, and it's something that you can get behind, right? I think Danny, as an older guy too, an older veteran guy, that's sort of the role that you look onto. Is that why and I encourage everybody, if you haven't, go back and watch this episode 6. Go watch episode 5, because Danny's name is brought up by the GM, and the reason I asked him about naming his captains, and he tells you why, and that's speaking like what it is. So to me, it's about the organization and where it starts at the top, but you know.
Guys have honestly really started buying into what Gordy's started to talk about all year long. It's a detailed game. It's a mistakes-oriented game, and it's a detail-oriented game. So guys are really starting to buy into the little things, taking care of the little things, letting the big things take care of themselves. And, it's really it's a special group of guys. It's been said all throughout the year, everyone in there is battling for the guy next to them more so than themselves. Obviously, you spoke on guys have aspirations to getting to the next level, but everyone understands being on a championship winning team and pulling that off honestly sets yourself up for a better next year. And guys are looking at winners. Guys want winners on their team. So
I love it, fellas. I love it. So big game. So if you had nothing to do, go Fraser tonight or check out MotorCityRockers.com and stuff like this. What can they expect for the game tonight? Who are you playing? Saturday.
Black Bears.
Okay, so what can we expect out of that? You got one in you? Tilly Tally, Snippy Snipe, upstairs. Jeremy Bates keeps his mom.
I'll take a greasy, grimy one.
Yeah. Greasy, grimy ones. There you go.
Greasy,
check them out.
Goals.
Come on, hey, we're gonna get him to act more like a first overall pick and stuff like this. Anyways, thank you, Trevor. Thank you to Danny. Yep. Check them out, Motor City Rockers. Back to you, Mikey. Chompin Puck.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Puck here to Saturday, episode number 6. Mikey, what do you got? Let's get deep right into this mailbag.
So we have a couple mailbag questions, and we just want to remind you, drop all your questions into chompinpuck@gmail.com for next week's show, and any memorabilia, Red Wings tattoos, anything you got to send, get it into us. But for our first question of the day, this is the away fan, and this is for Spencer, and we kind of talked on this topic earlier. Spencer, he wants to get your thoughts on the switch to the Fanatics jerseys, because he knows you're a big jersey guy, big apparel guy. Just wants to get your general thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't really like it at all. I really wanted them to go back to Nike. Obviously, Fanatics must have been offering some kind of bag or something, but Babin's going to do what he does, and I really, really wanted to go back to those Nike jerseys because I just like everything about them. I think they're crispier. Obviously, I wear a lot of Nike, so it would have worked out well. But even going back to Adidas would have been cool, or Reebok. But going with the Fanatics is a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you? Was there a term to the deal?
I honestly, the only thing that I seen that it was going through next season. I don't know if it's longer than that, but I know for sure at least next season. So it might be a test run. It might just be 1 year, and then their quality shit, then you're out the door or something. Who knows?
But you give them a chance, though, Spenny? They get a chance out of the rip, even though we don't like it, but we got to give them, right?
Got to give them a chance.
Got to give them a chance.
I just don't want my Mo Sider jersey to be a Fanatics jersey.
They have some good apparel. It's just I'm curious to see. They have made jerseys, but I'm curious to see now that they are the official sponsor and they are producing the actual team's jerseys, how the rest of their stuff comes out. But, D-Mac, this is for you. This is Josh, the Devils fan. Who had the coolest goalie mask while you were in the NHL? And who has the coolest one now, goalie equipment rather, now in the NHL?
That's a good question, right? Because it was always like, the helmets, and they evolved. The one that always used to blow you away is, how Ozzy used to wear the old school cage and coming in Adirondacks when we were 20 years old and watching him play there. The one that really used to throw you off or whatever like this, remember Archer Zerbe? He used to have that Jofa, but it used to be like almost like a forward mask to sit up like that. So I think that the golden age for the goalie masks and stuff is like the 70s and 80s when you see all those painted, Mike Palmetier is one of my favorite Toronto Maple Leaf with all the Leafs on it. It is cool as things evolved, right? And so a little bit of behind the scenes when Ozzy get his new gear and stuff like this, whether it was from Vaughn or whatever he was trying out, Hespler or whatever, you'd always be over there messing around with the gloves or checking the stuff out. And that I guess is personal preference. So I think now, today's, like right off the top of my head, I loved what Magnus Hellberg with his fire pads and the way that there's Archie Urban there. But with that helmet, there was different. So when you'd see those guys go old school helmet with the face mask like that, like him and Ozzy, it was something. He was a smaller guy too, but man, he played hard against us.
Yeah, there's another one. Vasilevsky was a cool one. He has a bunch of cool pads and whatnot.
Well, I think that it's more so to where it is today.
Yeah, it's way far ahead compared to back in the day.
I'd be interested to see what you guys have to say.
Yeah,
and to look back to the 70s, 80s to where the old mask.
If you have any cool pads or whatever goalie equipment that you want us to show specifically, let us know. I'm curious to see too. All right, last question. DMAC, top 5 logos in the NHL right now, discluding the Red Wings. No Red Wings.
Off the top of my head?
I'm going to go Avalanche 1. DMAC, don't kill me.
Eat a bag of dick on that one. You can never say Avalanche. Calgary's fire.
Calgary's up there for
Vancouver's
sure.
fire.
I like Blackhawks.
I like the Blackhawks as well.
The Blackhawks has always been low key.
Yeah.
Fire. Like, here's the one thing is to bring up is like the retro ones. Love the Florida one.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for
like
sure.
the different things like that.
The retro.
I think
throwback Yotes
Calgary's low key one of my favorite jerseys. Not because I just played there, or the alternate with the fire. And stuff.
I like Calgary's a lot too.
Hey, Tom Mazaway just rolled in. It means that we are going to be rolling out. And Tom, your Devils can also be on the bottom of the list. Anyways, I can't say anything, Mikey. He owns me. I lost the cup to him. Good thing I brought Ford back. Anyways, for Michael Gentry, for Spending More Rocks, thanks for spending another Saturday with us here. We'll be back next Saturday. Another edition of Chompin' Puck.